and welcome to D&T. Today on D&T, we have a car crash on the I-64 highway. If you plan on taking that route, please try and take another route. Breaking news, Miss Selma Engel, Wingberg, has just arrived to do an interview with us on her experience during the Holocaust. Will you come out, Selma Engel? When were you born?
I was born May 15th, 1922. I was born in the Groningen, Netherlands, but at the age of 7, me and my family moved to Zalo.
So you went to school?
Yes, I went to school, to elementary school and to high school, but right after I finished high school, that was it, because the Germans had taken away the Jewish right to learn.
So what were some of the laws of Jewish people?
Some of the laws, the denaturalization law that revoked citizenship to all Jewish people. The order of disclosure, which requires Jewish people to report all property in excess of 5,000 rich marks. The executive order and the law of alternation of family and personal names that required Jews to adopt an additional name.
So when did you arrive in Sobibor?
December 18th, I was arrested. After I got out, 2 months later, I was transferred to Camp Bunt. Then not shortly after that, to Camp Westerbork. And then finally, on April 9th, I was transferred to Civil War.
As the war progressed, what did you notice?
Around May 10th, the war broke out in Holland, which was at the time where I was living. Me, my mom, my brother, 2 brothers were transferred to the German border.
When you first arrived in Sobibor?
We were transferred by train into Sobibor. People closest to the window outside, they read a sign, big sign. They said in German and read Sobibor. As we got off the train, we could see the outside of Sobibor, which was really beautiful. It had flowers, little houses painted red and green, windows, but as we kept walking, there were these giant doors that led to the inside. They were huge. Once they were open, there were German soldiers, and they kept
A living mess.
yelling and screaming and whipping us for no reason, and we had to keep walking. We just had to. And those that were
What was it like when you arrived in Sobibor?
we were transferred by train into Sobibor, as most people know of by now. But the people that were closest to windows, they said they saw this giant sign that was read in German, Sobibor. So we kept moving. They let us out eventually. It was the outside of Sobibor. It was so beautiful. They were like flowers everywhere, and little houses painted red and green, little windows that were decorated and stuff. But as we kept walking, there were these like giant doors. They were huge. We opened the doors, and there were German soldiers on both sides in like a long line, and they just kept hitting and whipping us for no reason.
Could you describe the camp?
Sobibor was divided into 3 sections: the administrative area, the reception area, and the extermination area. The extermination area housed the gas chambers, burial trenches, and the accommodations for the Jewish prisoners who worked in the camp.
What happened upon arrival?
Upon arrival, the Jews first exited the trains. They were taken directly to the reception area. They were informed that they had reached a transit camp and en route to a labor camp. Many of them were forced to write letters to their relatives to tell them that they would arrive safely. They were then told that they would continue on the rest of the journey tomorrow, but first they had to take a shower and disinfect their clothes. The next day, the men and women were separated, as were the children. The children being taken with their mothers, they were then immediately marched into gas chambers. Those that survived, they were treated brutally, chased, and screamed at by the Ukrainian guards. About 450 to 550 Jews were forced into the gas chambers at a time. The whole process from arrival to burial took about 2 to 3 hours.
I'm curious, what was your first thoughts when you got married? I'm curious, what were your first thoughts when you arrived?
My thoughts were most likely the same as everyone else's. I was scared. I was trembling with fear. I can't breathe.
I'm curious, what were your first thoughts when you arrived?
My thoughts were most likely the same as everyone else's. I was scared about what was going to happen while I was there. I was trembling with fear. I feared for my life. Okay.
Upon arrival, what did they take?
They cut our hair, they took jewelry, all our money, and if we had gold teeth, they took our teeth.
Wow. Why did they take your teeth?
Well, of those that had gold in our teeth, they would take the gold off the tooth, and then sell the gold for money.
And so forth for those of you who survived.
Of us that survived, we were treated like slaves. We worked all day long, got very, very little food. We were really thin, and we treated like slaves, basically.
And now, for the question you've all been waiting for. How did you escape?
Okay, so October 14th, around 4 o'clock, it began. One after the other, Jews started taking out SS men. We took out about 9 and 2 Ukrainian guards. Panic ensued. He jumped on the table and shouted in Russian that there was no turning back of what we had done.
Wow. Then what happened?
There were about 550 prisoners in the camp that day, and around 400 seized the moment to escape. As the remaining guards began firing, prisoners rushed the gate and jumped over the fence. 80 people were shot by the guard as they attempted to flee. A further 170 were killed in the woods in the ensuing manhunt. At the end, there only 50 of the escapees had survived.
Wow. How is your life now that you escaped so far?
Well, while in the camp, I met Sham Engel. We fell in love, and after we escaped, we got married. We settled in Bradford, Connecticut, where I live now, and we have 3 children, which are very much grown.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. That's all the time we have for now. Bye-bye.
Summer Engel interview brought to you by DT News.